Okay, I'm gonna get started. I reorganized the people and I wrote down some notes. So I'm just gonna go through it. This is my personal preference, I would say. Uh, but I don't think there's that much. Um, I don't think there's that much difference in most tier lists for at least like the top three tiers. But I'll just go through some notes I made. So the SS gods, Blood and Yorm, basically win every matchup that they're in. You can interrupt the bludgeon or whatever, but her cleave autos will still outclear you. Yorm has the AoE auto attacks, so there's really nothing you can do about that. Bologna can disarm him, which is not that bad. And the matchup between these two, I would say, are pretty even. Uh, these two gods are easily able to 1v2 if a jungler comes over. Same as like King Arthur when he was like super OP. King Arthur definitely has the advantage in a 1v2. Uh, but these guys can definitely easily 1v2, especially Yorm. Uh, their proxy potential is very good. Yorm basically can proxy for free. He has his ult, which is on a longer cooldown than most ults. I think it's 100 seconds right now after they buffed it, but uh, it's still very good. Bologna, she can proxy very fast and still heal off, berserkers and whatnot. And like I said before, if she can 1v2 pretty easily. And if you have the jungler over in solo trying to kill you, uh, your team can easily do Gold Fury instead. And your death after you proxy and uh, waste the jungler's time, uh, after you proxy the wave and get a Gold Fury, your death is totally fine. That's a better trade for you guys. Uh, Another thing is that these two gods, uh, gain totem is practically guaranteed. For Yorm, it's it should be 100% guaranteed that Yorm always gets totem. Uh, a really fun thing that I love doing is to use Yorm's one with the pool and just kind of spit it on there and try to distract the solo laner. Eventually you will get it. You might need two pools uh, for the totem, but overall it's basically just clearing it for free for you. And the range on the Yorm one is insane. Uh, Another big thing is that Yorm and Bologna's builds are pretty cheap compared to like some other, warriors or whatnot, or guardians, because Yorm has the very like bridge item build, I would say, where you can go like Dynasty, Plate Helm, Pen Boots, like I lost the item's name, but it's a 1700 item. Uh, it's the Pen Magical. It's like 20 physical, 20 power, 30 magical defense. not Stone and Binding. Is it Stone and Binding? Yeah, I think it's Stone and Binding. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, Stone and Binding. But those three items are super cheap and make Yorm actually pretty tanky early while also doing a fuck ton of damage. Yorm can also go the Pythags, which is really good, like team fight wise. And then late game, Yorm actually causes a ton of disruption, which initially, being the small brain I am, uh, thought that Yorm was actually kind of doo-doo, but after playing him consistently and constantly, uh, he's actually very good at disrupting and diving the backline. Uh, and his ult can basically one-shot squishies, like, well, his whole entire ult, not just one hit. It's very good in choke points also, because you can constantly knock up someone. Bologna ult is very good for sieging, taking objectives and whatnot, and it's just good stun. Good escape also. Right now, with Kronos, Freya, like being pretty relevant, having a disarm uh, is very good, especially with Kronos with the stim. Bologna's disarm I think is 2.2 seconds, and I think Kronos's stim is like 5 seconds. So you get rid of the majority of it, plus Bologna burns like Magi's cloaks like no other. Super easy to proc. That's why it's always like terrible to buy that against her. Um, what else? I think that should be it for the S plus gods. I mean SS gods. Good pressure. Oh, another important thing is that these two have the best pressure in the game for solo. What you'll see is that someone like maybe Sobek might be a better team fighter than Bologna, but even if it's just like a little bit better, Bologna like has the potential to snowball the lane and invade like back harpies, speed buff, and can proxy more efficiently than Sobek. So right now, like in solo, pressure and team fight abilities are like super desirable, and Bologna brings both of them. She has probably the best pressure with a little worse team fight than Yorm, and Yorm has uh, a little bit better team fight, I'd say, and then just slightly worse pressure in lane than Bologna. But altogether, they're practically equal. Uh, then we go to S plus. This god is beaten by the SS gods, but has good matchups against anything below. This god does have a worse late game than the other gods in SS, but still is very potent if ahead. Osiris, like I played this Bologna versus Osiris matchup thousands of times in season 4, and after having games upon games of this matchup, Bologna definitely has the upper hand. The only big thing about Osiris, I think, is that his stun takes a while to proc, and that a lot of people like Osiris when you dive the backline and you use the tether, you're most likely gonna get either, the stun or they're gonna dash out, dash or jump out, which in essence you're pushing them out, but they can always just re-engage later. He does have very good zone potential and has really good like matchups, like I said, in lane. Um, Anti-heal on his ult is very good, especially with that's the main reason why most of like these guys below aren't higher is that anti-heal right now is like very, very prevalent and very good. Like Kursonk, my team makes fun of me for it, but it's a god tier item. And Osiris has pretty good totem clear also. Can proxy everything a good solo laner can do. Kursonk is not trash, Jeff. First of all, Kursonk is top tier when you upgrade it. If they have healers. Okay, Frenzy is also very good, but that's a different story. So we'll move to S tier. What did I write for this? So if the other top solo lane gods are banned / picked, these will be the go-to. The reason King Arthur is in this tier is because he loses or goes even with the gods above most of the time, unless you're me and I'm trash. Uh, Coincidentally, I believe these top tiers are also good counter matchups against King Arthur. Osiris Tether kind of fucks King Arthur. You'll constantly force his ult so he doesn't get stunned with the tether, but that just means he has to build up his energy again. It'll be a good time for like a jungler to gank, because after the nerfs to King Arthur, uh, I think he's very manageable. I think RTO's a sleeper pick. I think she has great lane pressure. She has very good sustain, and she has a great team fight. The only issue is she doesn't have a CC immune, and that's about it. I think she has great zone potential, can clear wave, has decent pressure, uh, good sustain. Nothing wrong with her really. Achilles after the nerf and then after the buff, even after the nerf, I think he was like S tier. I don't think he should have dropped off as hard as he did. I don't know why he got buffed. I honestly think he was really good still. He still has pressure, he still has damage, he still has kill potential. Kursonk is a global Sunder, so just get Sunder. Oh my god, my team's troll. But I believe the biggest nerf to Achilles, and I'll keep saying this, is the change from his auto attack range from, I believe it was 16 to 12, and that just fucks with you. That is the biggest nerf to him, and because that is his majority of like his execute range. Kursonk doesn't deal damage. Sunder does. Oh my god. Just grab upgraded Phantom and get a nice 15% damage mitigation. Just build Spirit Robe instead. Build Spirit Robe and Onis. But anyways, I think Achilles is still like a very good solo. He has very good innate state sustain. He has good proxy potential, good kill potential. Can dive the carries pretty well. Um, if you're solo queuing, I'd say Athena would go down. I think in a team, Athena solo is actually nuts with the ult plus teleport. You're just everywhere instantly. Uh, with her recent buffs, her clears consistently like just better, and this increase to the slow at level 1 is really nuts. Because I still need to mess around with it, because at this point I might just upgrade the 2, the taunt, second. Because I know sometimes before I was like upgrading the 1 for the clear and slow, but I think now you can just get away with um, using the 3. I mean, just upgrading the taunt after the 3, because now it's just more team fight based. Yeah, in support I would always upgrade taunt second. Solo solo is kind of different, but it all depends. Just because you get more levels fast, that sometimes you want to proxy and clear just insanely fast, and you don't team fight as much. Because most of the time, like Athena isn't bad into King Arthur, because like all you want to do against King Arthur is stop him building energy, and his main source of building energy is his super long spinny dash, or a super long yellow spin thing. And Athena just taunts him right out of it. You don't need a long taunt duration because you have no follow up except for your own damage. So you don't need to upgrade the taunt in solo. The only benefit of like upgrading taunt in solo is if you're just constantly like team fighting and just ulting over, or they're playing like super close to your tower line and you could just taunt them in your tower for like 10 years. But that's about it. What else? Guan. Guan has good damage, and his Totem Secure is probably comparable to like Bologna and uh, Yorm, if if he pushes out the lane first. Otherwise, using his abilities on the totem will just kind of kill him instead. He clears totems super fast, which is really insane. Definitely faster than Bologna, but I don't know about faster than Yorm. Uh, Guan's healing, since it's more of a team fight uh, type of meta, I'd say. I think Guan, like overall, is pretty good. Just ult totem, yeah. Just Janus ult. We'll just pick a comp based around securing totem. But anyways, Guan clears totem like Yorm basically. He has good healing late game. He has actually very good damage while diving the backline. His ult, very good chase potential, slows, stuns. All around a decent soul laner, I think. The only issue is that his lane phase kind of blows dick. It's not like as bad as like some other guys, but it's definitely like if they can just like Athena taunt you out of it, you just kind of feel sad. The ult does do a fuck ton of damage. Uh, so next, Shang. Shang has a decent matchup into Bologna. I think that's why I would put him higher. I mean, I would put him here. He has a good team fight ult, burns beads, uh, has CC outside of his ult, which Guan doesn't really have. That's another big thing. That's one detriment of Bologna, but it's not a big deal because you just run down the ADCs. Uh, Xing Chen has his knockup. He has his ult. Very good, like just CC in general. Same with Sobek. Sobek pluck is always going to be good. Unless we're in burst meta and Sobek will just die if you pluck someone. But right now I think it's more just like sustained team fights. Sobek has innate healing. He has good damage. Dolt's good. Sobek overall is just a good solo laner and probably will always be unless he doesn't have healing on his 3, which I don't think they would ever take that off. I think I have more to say about King Arthur. King Arthur's laning phase after Glide Shield is very good, but the new solo lanes start with solo support. The new solo lanes start with solo and support can keep your solo laner ahead, or at least secure like the blue buffs and whatnot before King Arthur gets online. So your solo laner has like a presence in that lane. Because if you leave like the solo laner to kind of just fend for himself like against King Arthur after Glide Shield, uh, it's gonna be really rough. And the potential to steal the blue buff the first time, if you have like a Yorm, Ganache, or Yorm Sylvanas or something with insane pressure, and you can steal the blue buff, King Arthur is definitely at a loss. And if you have like a top pick like Osiris, Bologna, Yorm against King Arthur, uh, and you get ahead of him and shut him down, like steal his blue buff on cooldown or whatnot, you'll see it later in team fights where it's actually like not too bad to kill him. I'd say Osiris is probably the best bet into King Arthur because the tether is just great against him. And if they pick King Arthur, your support definitely needs to have some kind of CC to stop him, because King Arthur is actually very easily killed if you have a CC chain going. And that's one big thing about King Arthur that the other top solo laners don't have, is that, I mean, that the other solo laners have that King Arthur doesn't, is that he doesn't have an easy way of escape from a CC chain. Like Yorm has Yorm ult, Bologna has Bologna ult, Osiris has Tether plus his ult, Achilles has his like 20 dashes, and his ult. Artio would kind of compare to King Arthur since her dash is slow. She doesn't have CC immune ult, but she has a stun and cripple and the dash that can secure her way out. Whereas King Arthur doesn't have any instantaneous CC except for his ult, his like big ult. And if it's gonna be in a team fight and you CC King Arthur a lot, he's probably not gonna have his big ult. But at the time, like, you're killing him. Also, with King Arthur, the current meta picks are also not super favorable for him in solo ADC, some mid lane gods, and some supports. There's a lot of counterplay against him, and I think the reason that we don't see Camazot's higher is because of the anti-heal and that King Arthur isn't as good, and that this meta is more a team fight meta, and Camazot's doesn't really bring anything to a team fight meta. Um, and then A, these are just solid picks in general. They all have like specific niches. Like they'll fit certain comps. Like if you just need a safe warrior, Wukong, you'll just play him. Uh, if you need some anti-heal, Cerberus. Uh, the thing is like Terra, Ama, kind of Cerberus, not really, but like some of these gods just don't do well in laning phase, and that translates into their team fight potential, depending if they're going to be on farm. Like if you just take Terra's blue buff on cooldown, she'll be the most useless solo laner, I believe. But it's not like King Arthur where he has Glad Shield and Terra doesn't have any way to get that mana back. And her Totem Secure is kind of okay. It's not the best because she's Guardian. Most warriors can just outclear Guardian and just get Totem and deny her that like mana regen. Herc uh, is pretty good, does a lot of damage, but the only issue is that I believe his CC is just unreliable, and sometimes the CC you have displaces uh, it displaces people from your team's damage. Same with Kuzenbo, sometimes with Wukong. Uh, Ama just has a weak early game. Team fight is decent, but she also doesn't have CC outside of her ult. Granted, her ult without CDR is like 75 seconds, I believe. Uh, After the Cerberus buffs, I think Cerberus is pretty good. Uh, the only issue is some of his clear can be interrupted. If the two can be interrupted in lane, you would upgrade the one, and vice versa. If it doesn't, it can't be stopped, then you upgrade the two. His ult's good. The stun is kind of wonky to hit if you don't play him a lot. So it's kind of unreliable, I'd say. Erlong is I think he has solo potential. I think he can be flexed into 3 positions right now: support, jungle, solo. And the big thing is he doesn't have a CC immunal. His healing is delayed, which means anti-heal. And like other guys like Osiris, just kind of fuck him. And uh, he's very susceptible to CC. What else? Zhang, just no CC immunal. He's kind of scared to play against like teams that have like a Daiji or something. Daiji Hunbots. I think he's good though. Just still anti-heal kind of fucks. Gem Isolation got nerfed, but he has decent pressure, but no escape. So we'll go down to B plus. These gods have some potential, but other gods do it better without having a detriment. So Chang'e, she's super easy to kill in solo if a jungler ganks. Otherwise, she has insane pressure because she can clear the wave and poke at the same time and heal. all at once. Uh, and most likely, Chang'e will never die in solo if the jungler doesn't gank because she has the healing. She'll probably buy med because she never needs to back. I think like a couple games I played Chang'e solo, I backed 3 times, and one of them was like because I died because from a gank. Uh, so Chang'e solo, you never need a back. She can constantly buy sentries and place them on like Fire Giant and around it. So she has really good like early game, I'd say. Her mid game, uh, mid to late game are kind of rough because people will start having anti-heal. People will start, diving your backline. Chang'e can't really, you know, go all in and dive the backline like a Bologna or Yorma or Cyrus. She kind of has to play a little back with the team because the only CC she has is her ult, and I think it's better if she's in the back with the carries with the ult, so she can focus one target or 2 targets. She can soak up a lot of damage, but she has no mobility. That's the big thing. Tier, you're forced to get blink. If you don't get blink, you're a big troll. Uh, and in this meta, I would say like being forced to get a relic is very detrimental for a soul laner. Like you don't need to get teleport, and then you can just get something else. But teleport's just, I think it's a very good relic overall. Even like late game, it's only good if you're winning. That's the thing. Teleport is a terrible item if you're losing, but still a fantastic relic if you're winning. Vamana, I think this goes back to his ult. If his ult wasn't affected by anti-heal, Vamana would be like up here, somewhere here. But like, Kursong is nuts. No one can tell me otherwise. Kursong and anti-heal will make Vamana heal for nothing. And then he's just kind of a sitting duck. He has good early game, but his late game's kind of poop. Baron, no escape, single target CC basically, and it's only a root. In the P tiers, I like Horus a lot. I don't. I think people are still trying to figure out the ult with him. I think he's better as a support, but he basically gives away his lane for free. So there's no reason why you want to play Horus in solo, because then the enemy solo laner will just steal your buffs, steal your blue buff, steal your back camps, proxy, and rotate. Um, Kumba, he's not a bad solo laner. He fits like his team fight is the reason why you pick him. He's not gonna be able to proxy as efficiently, I think, or clear as efficiently as other guardians, because the solo laner could literally just step in front of him. I put Geb here because it's the same with like Horus. You're picking these guys for like the team fight. Like Geb is just way better as a team fighter. He can clear waves, but it's not like the best. Um, but that's about it. Hell, Afro, and Hell and Afro, Karsank is just a thing, and you can kill them pretty easily if your jungler ganks, like early. Uh, and I don't see a reason to play Afro when you could just play Chunga. That's about it. Chalk Cullen. Cullen is all early pressure. His late game is worse than Chalk's. You basically win with Cullen by killing people and doing damage. But when everybody hits level 20, you do nothing, because then you just get blown up because you have no CC except for your ult. And any missed ability you have delays your transformation. So it's not really a big risk with his like abilities, but he just doesn't have anything outside of his like transformation that has CC really. I think if we give his one a slow, it might be pretty good. And another big thing is that Kakulin basically only has 3 abilities. Yeah, he basically only has 3 abilities. You don't level the 2 until you have to. Until you're like actually forced to. So his 2 doesn't really do anything. It only does stuff in his transformation, but that's about it. If you ever use the 2 like outside of like just for the movement speed, you're actually just throwing the game, because that's just not how you play him. Because you want to keep that rage up. And if you get behind, you're actually useless because you can't build up your rage. Chalk, I think he's decent. Levels 1 through 9. And then you don't have a solo laner. I don't think he does anything special. His only CC is his ult, basically. If you want to count a slow as CC, then he has a slow. I mean, CC in his regular kit. But, like, his ult is a long wind-up time. Decent damage, but just a long wind-up time that doesn't really, shouldn't really do anything. Even if you're playing Chuck, like, correctly, I don't think he should be able to do anything. D tier. You don't pick these guys unless you're trolling in solo. Nike has actually, like, one of the worst laning phases. She's picked for a passive and not for anything else. That's the big thing. With the rise of magical ADCs, I guess Nike is a little bit better because magical ADCs will get more from her passive than regular hunters. But why would you put Nike in solo to get her ahead when you can literally put any other god and be more effective? Same goes with Odin. I don't think Odin does anything a solo laner really should. I mean, doesn't really do anything a solo laner needs to do. If you dive the backline by bird bombing in, you don't have any way to survive. Your slow and your damage is a joke. If you miss your bird bomb, especially, you have no damage. They'll just auto you to death and use abilities on you, and you're gonna be in a 4v5 then. His ult, especially with like Chronos and AMC being picked up a lot, the nerf to his ult with the attack speed reduction being removed is a huge detriment. He doesn't really have anything that you're looking for. The biggest problem that Odin causes is making the soul laner or support by Phantom, and that's it. So, big troll if you play these two gods in solo. Very bad, I'd say. And this is basically just for if you're actually trying to play solo lane. And I have a second tier list where it's just there's some fun picks that I would put in here. These these other picks will be abused a little bit more than these tiers. Some gods might be higher than others, but that's for some other reasons. So here's the other tier list. You'll see that all the like decent soul laners uh, will be B plus or higher. Nothing will like no troll picks or whatever are gonna be like up here. Uh, Baka solo can be played by masters of the god, but the thing is you're losing a front line. But yeah, you can also dive the back line and kill them. So it's a trade-off. It also depends if you get counterpicked and whatnot, because Bologna's really relevant. All these gods can deal with Baka, I'd say. Ares, great team fight, except his laning phase is kind of doo-doo if you're against like people that know how to play against him, which means just juking the chains. Fenrir, Geb's being kind of picked up right now. I think if you jump in and use your 3 or something, you're most likely gonna die. I don't think he's that good right now. What else? Kali, she's just, I think she brings CC and kill potential from solo, and gain her head is gonna be way better than like a Chaac or Kakalin. Naja solo, we've seen like Naja support a lot recently, but Naja solo has been like a couple tiers down from Naja's support. So Naja support would probably be like A plus A. So Naja solo doesn't really bring that much, I believe. It's just the early clear kind of blows if you play against like a Bologna, Osiris, or Yorm. Nox solo brings fuck ton of CC, but it's just you're gonna lose early pressure, and she has no sustain. But her team fight is great. She can probably be killed like super easily just because she's a mage in solo. Robin solo, good sustain, good damage, pretty easy to poke. Good survivability with immunity and his ult, and provides a little more CC than like these characters. Also, I need to create a new tier because I had to move these into like really bad people because some of the troll picks were a little bit better than like these. Thanatos solo, Executes are gonna be good. Um, always. Has early damage, good proxy potential. Unfortunately, his death scythe is single target, so you basically just use it for sustain. Um, I don't think really. I'd rather have an Achilles. He doesn't really have any CC except for his ult and his silence. That's the main reason why I wouldn't pick him. Morgan solo. The only reason why I wouldn't pick Morgan solo consistently is that she has no self-sustain. You could build Pythags, but unlike Yorm, you're a lot more unsafe and not as tanky as Yorm. But in solo lane you can build her full CDR within like one item, one or two items. CDR boots, breastplate, plus your blue buff, and you can transform all the time. Ymir solo, good clear, good CC, just no self-sustain. You can be punished a lot by like Osiris, Storm, or Bellona. Uh, really hard to fight into other gods, I'd say. But if you need a Guardian solo, he's not too bad. Arachne solo, I think she brings some significance, like compared to like these characters, but I don't think she would be decent into like any of these. Bacchus, after the nerf, I don't think Bacchus solo is that good anymore. Because your main clear is kind of weak now. Uh, but he has good team fight. Unfortunately, no CC immune ult. Kabrakan, he just doesn't clear wave fast. And that's about it. Um, I don't know. I I think like if he didn't have tremors and had like some, it's just you're in one place for so long. You're gonna take so much poke if you use tremors, and then late game tremors just fucking blows dick. So you literally have three abilities. I don't know. I just don't think that Kabrakan solo is good at all, especially with all these other gods. Isis, I mean, the goddess of demonetization. Uh, anyways, she actually has decent soul lane potential, I believe. She has good clear. She has CC in her kit. She has a silence also. Uh, that can combo with her stun. She has good objective secure. However, she's super easy kill and has no CC immune ult. Uh, and she can get poked out really easily. So that's the big thing. And if you build any sustain on her like Pythags or Bancrofts in her, I mean for her in solo, you're probably just gonna still die. Because then the jungler can just gank or the soul laner can just kill you. That's the big thing is she just doesn't have innate sustain except for her ult. And I wouldn't be ulting off cooldown just for the sustain. Jingwei solo. The only issue with this is that you won't have pressure in solo lane. And yeah, but in solo lane you can get a hunter ahead. I think LG did this a couple times where they switched the lanes. I mean they didn't play Jingwei, but uh, they were the goal was to put the hunter ahead. And the thing is, if you play Jingwei solo, you have zero frontline basically. And if they blow up your support, you kind of just need to run. Kebri solo, after the buffs, he's fun. And building him like a warrior, where you're kind of damage hybrid, not like true damage, but like uh like void stone and stuff, and like maybe stone and binding. I think Capri Solo's gonna be fun. Not the best, has a rough time clearing waves, but uh just really fun in general. You're gonna give up like early pressure if you play Capri Solo. Need Solo global ult is very good. You heal easily. Uh, the Spirit Arrow does a fuck ton of damage. The only downside is that you basically have zero escape because Neath backflip is very telegraphed in where she's gonna land and whatnot. So like Bologna Osiris just punishes her. Pele Solo isn't as good now, I'd say, because it's more about early pressure. I think Pele Solo is god tier into Yorm, because the knock up and kill potential you have against Yorm, you'll always force his ult out or kill him. And there's nothing he can really do about it. Vulcan Solo, against gods that don't have sustain and can't also poke you, Vulcan Solo's pretty fun and good. Chak actually does decent into Vulcan Solo, but other gods like, you know, Guan, Sobek, anything that could just move you like over the halfway line in solo, or just like kind of abuse that you don't have a CC immune ult, especially like if a jungler ganks like Dashi or Hunbots, you kind of die. He has a knockout. He has, you can build like E staff and be somewhat tanky, but not the best. Very fun, but not good. I did forget that I put Rat up here. I think Rat right now is actually a decent flex pick. Uh, it's just late game he falls off pretty hard. However, if you get ahead because you're a solo laner, uh, you should be able to be impactful throughout the game. I think his ult is very good, proxy wise, and safety wise. Your 2 is very good early game to shred warrior protections, guardian protections. The only issue is that people can stun you out of that, CC you out of that, and your box potential against like the higher tier gods are kind of doo-doo. And that should be about it. Thank you for watching.